Hello, and welcome to this week's first ever edition of the Innkeepers Weekly. If you want to know a little bit about why I'm calling it the Innkeepers Weekly and where the inn and the whole concept of being an innkeeper comes from, there'll be a link down below. I'd love if you checked it out and let me know what you think. So today, as the first one, I want to share a little bit about some of the work that's been going on in my journeyman groups and individual work with men. Um, and just so you know, the group Connected Fathers coaching program and all the work I do individually with men is really about how we as men can help to grow and change the narratives of what masculinity and fatherhood, what they mean in our society today, because so much about the stories about how to be a man, um, they truly they're not complete. They don't give us the whole story, and as a result, we have men who are hurting, who are isolated, who are lonely, who look at the world in a way that frankly isn't as helpful as it could be, right? Um, but I want to think back. I ran for years. I ran a men's group in my therapy practice, and I'm always remembering one particular guy came in and he said, "Jason, how come it's so easy to remember all of the shit that goes on in our lives, all of the stuff, all the bad choices, all of those things? How come I can remember that? But if you asked me to remember like a really joyful moment, I'd have to work at it, right? How come the negative memories come like that? And the positive memories, I have to work. And that answer is a very complicated one. But to put it real directly is that our brains, we're wired for survival, right? So the negative experiences, they teach us, and so we remember them, so we remember not to do them again, right? But the problem is that in our day and age, these negative memories also come with a meaning that men often use to continue to isolate or beat themselves up, or find themselves not good enough, or shame, guilt, any of these things. Our negative memories, instead of being mistakes for learning or choices that we can grow from, they become evidence in a story that says we're not enough if we're not battling dragons and doing epic legendary things. Then we're just not enough, right? And so that's where a lot of the work that I do with guys is, how do we start to create the work, the energy and the intention of remembering these moments that are meaningful? And ultimately they can be full of positive choices and things like that, but also even learning that even in the challenge, even in the muck, that's where we can grow, if our meaning making in our story gets us to that place, right? And so um one of the things that it brought to me is that, last week we were beginning a phase in our work in the Journeyman Connected Fathers group, where the guys are gonna start noticing all of the work they've done up till now. They're gonna start noticing it in their everyday. They're gonna start looking for it. And before I get into that, I just want to share like a story one of the guys brought up last week, was that the challenge of the old story of man or father as provider was feeling really hurtful, right? Who are we as providers? And what if we aren't providing well? And what if, we aren't hunting and bringing home the bacon or whatever we're going to call it, right? Um, how does that impact who see ourselves as, and how does that impact the partners we have in our lives and our kids, and how does that impact the way that our identity as fathers develops, right? And so I really think it's important to note that this is a story. The fact that men bring home the bacon, or we're the hunters, and so that's a story. That is not in our brains. That is not genetic or neurological. That is not the nature of mankind, right? What it is a story that has some truth to it, but it isn't the truth. And it doesn't have to be the way that it always will be. And it's not the way that it always has been, right? And so in the work that I'm doing with guys, even today, one of the things we do is we start to notice the things and the actions that we take every day that are aligned with our values and aligned with the things we care about the most, right? Our families are, our kids and our partner are the people we say we love the most, right? I don't love going out and being the provider more than I'd love being with my family and my kids. I like it, but I'm not the only one, and it's not the only thing that I do. It's not all of who I am, right? And so one tool that I shared with the guys is something I call bookmarking, right? If we're going to change the way that our brain automatically goes to the challenging, to the negative, to the problematic stories, then we have to search out the other ones, right? Where are the places that you see yourself acting in accordance with your values? Where are the places that you notice that you make choices that are meaningful? And what does that say about who you are, right? Remember that moment. Put a bookmark in, literally stop for a second and remember, intentionally say in your mind, like, I want to remember this. What about it will help me remember it? And frankly, I teach a couple of different techniques around how to bookmark and what to do so that you remember them more often and more regularly. And that's part of the story that we're all building as we become journeymen and as we, develop a more connected fatherhood and a more connected masculinity, right? So for today, I want to invite anyone to start to notice what stories are active in your life that may not feel like they fit for you as strongly anymore. They don't actually really support an identity that you want to develop, right? And then be aware of it and start to notice, oh, this is where I was being myself, and this is where I was really like connected with the people I care about, and this is what, and create a bookmark. Really stop and take a note. We have these little devices that are really lovely for note keeping or memory saving, um, or just in your mind. Remember, like, oh, that time when, right? Create a bookmark in your life. If we create enough bookmarks and we return to them, we're creating a new plot line and we're creating a new story for whom we want to become as fathers, as men, as partners. And, let me know what you think. All right. If you have a bookmark, or if you would like to learn more about bookmarking and the Connected Fathers coaching program, certainly you can email me directly, jason@nourishedconnections.com. You can check out our websites, connectedfathers.net, or you can check the links below. But either way, thank you for listening to this initial version of the Innkeepers Weekly. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Have a great day.